Hello everyone and welcome back to another video of me renovating a Sylvanian dollhouse to cozy cottage, and today we're going to be making miniature crochet blankets for the dollhouse. So if you're looking to make something a little bit like this, just keep on watching and I will share the full tutorial with you. So it's been a little while since I've done a dollhouse makeover episode. In the last one, if you watched that, we finished making a kitchen unit from a ice cube tray and bits of scrap wood, so watch that if you haven't already. But today we're going to be making miniature crochet blankets because it's getting pretty cold and it's time to get the winter bedding out for sure. So this is my bed here that I made in another video. If you haven't checked that out already, I'm going to be sizing it to this. I also have an axe under the bed, not sure why that's there, but you know, protection. But yeah, anyway, we're going to be using embroidery floss for this project. I have two styles that I'll show you in this video, so you can pick whatever you like for this if you're going to recreate it. So I bought this embroidery floss set off Amazon for about £6. It was really cheap. It had tons and tons of different coloured embroidery flosses. They're all nylon, I believe, and yeah, pretty good deal on that. So we're going to be using this. This is quite a bit thinner than regular yarn, so we're going to get a more miniature effect. So I've just picked out this pink one that we're going to be working with on this granny square. Normally you would use a big chunky fat needle for a regular granny square, but today we're going to be using this 1.75mm needle, which is the smallest I have, but you can really go down to as small as you want for this. So this is the granny square that we're going to be aiming for in this video. It's sort of like a four-leafed clover with a perimeter around it, and as you can see, it kind of makes the perfect sort of square patchwork shape. If you continue on doing crochet all around, you will get this size granny square, which is pretty tiny, but for me I wanted to just create little small squares, so we're just going to do the starting round, but I'll explain all this in a minute. And I also have a version of a blanket like this one on the right at the end to see how that turned out too. So we're going to start off by separating our threads. You can work with this without separating, you will just get a bigger granny square at the end. But for me, I'm going to be separating it into two threads. If you do this one at a time, it will be a lot easier to remove them from the spool of thread that you have. So once you have a decent amount of length, you're going to slip knot the thread end onto your needle. This is going to start your work. Then you're going to chain 4. This is just wrapping around the needle and pulling it through the loop that's on your chain 4 times. This is going to create the base of what your ring in the center is going to be like. So as you can see, you'll have 4 chains on your needle. Then you're going to slip stitch into the first chain that you made. This is just putting your needle into the chain, wrapping around and pulling through 1, and then pulling through the second. This will create a ring. It's going to be very small, so it's going to be hard to see it. I would recommend practicing on full size yarn before you go ahead to miniature. Then you're going to chain 4. This is going to act as your first double crochet. Once you get this weird little shape, you're going to make your first double crochet. You're going to be doing this 2 times. So for the first time, you just wrap your thread around the needle, place into the center ring, and then wrap your thread around the needle again and go through the first 2 loops on your needle. Once you've gone through the first 2, you wrap around the thread once more and go through the last 2. That will recreate your first double crochet. You want to do this 2 times, so you have a set of 3 double crochets. Next, you're going to chain 2. This will create your corner piece. This will create more length for your corner. Then you're just going to repeat 3 double crochets into the center ring again, so you create these little clusters that you see on a granny square. once you've done a few, you'll be able to see it forming easier. As you can see, we've got 3 double crochets from the beginning, and then you will get more as you go along. So once you've completed that other set of 3 double crochets, you're going to chain 2 for another corner and do another set of 3 double crochets. This will now create 3 sets of clusters, and then you will just have one more corner to complete and another set. So going to complete that corner again with another 2 chain, and now you will do your final 3 double crochet cluster. Every time you start a double crochet, you're going into the center round. So once you've finished that set, you're going to chain 2 for the last corner, and then slip stitch to the 3rd chain on your very beginning double crochet that you did. You'll be able to see where this is quite easily. It's just a bit tricky in this picture because it's so small. So then you just cast off, and there you have your very first granny square round. You can continue with this technique on and on and on to however big you want, and I will show you that later, but I just continued making these little ones. If you wanted to create a full granny square shape at this dimensions, you're going to need a very small needle. So for me, this is how it's going to work as best I could with the size I had. So I had made like at least 30 something of these. And once you have made as many as you desire, it is time to stitch them together with a flat slip stitch join. This is essentially a chain stitch by putting your needle inwards on both sides of the place you want to join, wrapping around the thread from the back and pulling through. This will create a kind of a chain running stitch all along the edges that you want to join. When I did this, just make sure that you're lining up the squares correctly so that they lie in the right direction that you want. So you really just kind of, making a sort of slip stitch all the way through this. There are loads of videos on this technique that will show it a lot more easier, and of course with this I would recommend starting with full-size yarn and practicing your first granny square doing that before you go on to miniature, as it's going to be a bit tricky if you're going to start doing this from scratch, just doing miniature. So I just completed the vertical sides and figured out that I actually needed more, because once I put them all together it shrank, so I needed to make more granny squares. So I did that, and then I also did the horizontals, and this is how it was looking. I quite was liking how it was turning out. It does look a little bit wonky here and there, but it's so small it's very hard to get super accurate lines on this, but this is how it was looking on the little bed. Then I proceeded to do the flat slip stitch on the horizontals. So it's just a matter of kind of weaving. As you can see, you kind of weave on one side of the square and on the other side of the square, and then wrap around and then just pull through, and you create this like little stitch. So to finish, I did a double crochet all around the perimeter just to give it a edge. And that's just the same technique as I said before, but just going all around the edges. And this is my other one that I continued to work on. This actually took me so long to do because it's so tiny, but this is just the granny square that we did at the beginning, but if you just continue on and on and on with multiple rounds going around each time for your desired length or width. This is kind of the size of a regular granny square, but just in tiny threads. So this is how the two actually finally came out. I'm pretty happy with them. This one does look very, let's say, wobbly. It looks like it's been handmade, let's just say that. But I really like how this turned out. It's really cute, and I love all the little colours. yeah, I just picked any random colours that I liked, and for this one, I also really love this. I think this is one of my favourite ones, and I might make another one of these just because the effect looks so cool. I think even I could go smaller, I feel would fit into the scale of this house more, because as you see on the bed, it's still rather big. The stitch is rather big for that scale, but it works out fine, and I really love how it looks. Let us know in the comments what you think of this. This is how it looks spread out on the bed. Because I have two now, I'm not quite sure which one to leave on the bed. I made this particular crochet one in the colours of the downstairs kitchen, thinking that it might go on a sofa or something, so we might have to have a little workaround with the decor a little bit. But this is how the granny square one looked. I just love all the texture and detail, and it looks really kind of handmade, because it is, but you know, it just looks kind of rough and kind of like it's been used for like years or something. But yeah, there's two sides to this, one with the flat stitch all the way, and then the reverse side, which is more hidden, so you'll get two different kind of looks if you try this. So here's Bob in his little bed, all looking nice and cozy. You know, he still hasn't even got pajamas. That's something I need to make him, because look, he's just in his bed with work clothes on. That's not really acceptable. Anyway, at least he's warm for the winters now. That's a plus. So onto house plans. As you know, we've done the kitchen units, and I did a bit of stone floor, which you've seen in a short if you're following those, and I did the floors and sideboards. I haven't varnished as I have at the top because I'm going to do a lighter varnish downstairs. I also made this bedside table, which I fitted in with the lights that I got from my AliExpress haul. The drawers actually come out and I flocked the inside, but I'm not going to try and open them at the moment because they're a bit tricky. Unfortunately, I didn't film that, but we'll be doing some more lighting soon anyways. But I'm planning on doing a tile backsplash and creating some PDFs for vintage tiles that you can use. The blanket that I made was in the colours of the kitchen, so that could go with a sofa quite nicely, but I need suggestions of what could work well downstairs in the kitchen. Should I have a sofa? Should I have a kitchen table? What style do they need to be in? Feel free to comment below with your suggestions, I'd love to hear them. And if you want to make any of these blankets featured in the video, I have a free pattern that you can download and read through in that easier format if that's more your style. That will be available in the description below and probably pinned in the comments as well. So thank you so much for watching if you got to the end, and I hope you have a really nice cozy day.